She's been showing him the gardens in Florence.
When's he coming home? It's not the letter of a man in his right senses. You may not know this, but Ambrose's father died of a tumor on the brain. It was never a matter much discussed in the family, and I've no idea whether these things are hereditary or not, nor do the doctors seem to know. The only other possibility I can think of, and one which I would infinitely prefer, is that Ambrose was drunk when he wrote this letter.
I've never seen Ambrose drunk in my life.
Nor I. I was merely trying to choose the better of two evils.
Well, whatever the truth, we'll know it soon. I'm leaving for Florence first thing tomorrow morning.
I must say you're a great deal prompter than I've been accustomed to with you.
We raced.
It's the only way to get him anywhere on time. Will you be long?
I don't think so.
Well, then if you'll excuse me, I'll change and we'll have some tea after.
Such mystery.
Don't look at me. I don't know what it is.
Well?
Philip, I've odd news for you.
Yes?
Mrs. Ashley is here.
In his house?
In Plymouth. She arrived by ship 2 days ago. She writes to tell me of Ambrose's death. Apparently, she knows nothing of your visit to Florence. I think you should read it. I think it will impress you.
What's she after? A settlement?
No. She only wants to return the remainder of Ambrose's possessions. His books, his papers, old clothes.
She wants to bring them here herself, I suppose.
To judge from this letter and the one from Ronaldo last week, she wants nothing more of us, not 1 shilling. Although I believe that as the widow, she might quite properly make some kind of claim on the estate.
Claim? After driving him to his death?
That's a very foolish thing to say, Philip. And I wouldn't repeat it if I were you. If ever she heard such a charge, she would be well within her rights to bring a case against you for slander. Well within her rights.
If Ambrose had thought she deserved it, he'd have left his wife something. The whole estate, in fact, and you know it.
Unless he was too ill to recognize his obligations.
But surely you don't believe that story of the tumor.
I do now, yes. Here is her account. Here is Ronaldo's. Here is the death certificate. In addition to which, I remember Ambrose's father's death. The symptoms were quite similar.
Well, you may, but I don't. Not for a minute.
You mean you won't? She doesn't even ask to see the house. The house that would have been her home had Ambrose lived. Instead of which, a lonely hostelry in Plymouth.
You touch me, Nick.
I'm sorry, Philip. But as Ambrose's friend, I can't sit here and do nothing when his widow arrives alone and friendless in this country. I shall invite her to come here and stay with us until her plans are formed. I know you won't want to see her, so if she accepts my invitation, I won't ask you over while she's here.
On the contrary, I'd like very much to see her. Perhaps you'll write that to her. Tell her that Philip Ashley is rather a plain man living in rather a plain fashion with no fine manners whatsoever. But if she wishes to see him and her late husband's home, the house will be completely at her disposal whenever she cares to visit it.
Do you think for one moment she'd accept an invitation like that?
Send it along. We'll see whether she will or not.
Remember that everything she possessed, including the villa, would have to be sold to pay off Sangaletti's debts. She's certainly entitled to something. How much would you suggest?
£5,000 a year.
5,000?
To be paid to her quarterly from the day of Ambrose's death.
You don't think that's a trifle over-generous?
How can one be over-generous with property that might have been due her anyway?
Very well. If you insist, I'll direct the bank to make the payments. A sum like that, it's almost better than being mentioned in the will.
That's the most beautiful pearl necklace I've ever seen.
Thank you. It's a very proud possession.
Perhaps we might attempt half the heraldry.
Oh, love it.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Philip, I've had a communication from the bank which I find decidedly disturbing.
Yes?
It seems that in less than 3 months, your cousin Rachel has overdrawn her account more than double.
Well?
You don't regard that as an extraordinary situation?
Why should I? What she does with her money is no affair of ours.
Well, I do. And the only explanation I can find is that she's sending the money out of the country.
Whatever she does with it, the only important point is that obviously what we gave her was not enough.
That's ridiculous.
We know she had debts. We know she's a generous woman. I want you to increase her allowance at once. And in addition, to issue a check to cover that overdraft.
Philip, you're being very wayward. I've been constantly worried, in fact, by the direction in which your emotions have been carrying you recently. The county, for one thing, has not failed to note the length of your cousin's stay in this house.
I'm not interested in the gossip of old women, thank you.
For another, you had no right to take that necklace from the family collection. It was not yours and won't be for another 3 months yet.
What of it? It'll be mine then, won't it?
The entire estate will be yours then. But until then, not one item of it.
Very well, then. I've loaned it to her for 3 months. Is there any harm in that?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
What are you suggesting, that she might take it and sell it?
Quite by chance recently, I've come to learn a little more about your cousin Rachel.
Such as what?
It happened I came across some old friends who've been wintering in France and Italy over a period of years. It seems they met your cousin when she was married to Sangaletti.
And?
Both were notorious for unbridled extravagance and, their own term for it, loose living. The duel in which Sangaletti died was fought because of another man. These people said...
Don't you ever talk to anyone with gossips?
These people said that when they heard of Ambrose's marriage to the Countess Sangaletti, they were horrified. They predicted she would run through his fortune in a matter of months. I'm sorry to have to tell you all this, Philip. But my friends are responsible people and not given to idle gossip.
I've never heard anything so despicable. Who are these people anyway?
Oh, it doesn't matter. All that's important for the moment is that necklace. You know its tradition very well. You must explain this to her and ask her to return it to the collection.
Not in 1,000 years.
Then I must do it for you.
I forbid you, sir. You will not utter one word to Mrs. Ashley on the subject. The necklace is now hers.
Philip, you're very young, very impressionable. And I quite understand you're wanting to give your cousin some token of esteem. But family jewels are rather more than that. Particularly that necklace. So as your guardian and executor of the estate, I must be firm about it. If you won't ask Mrs. Ashley to return it, I shall.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't help overhearing. But I assure you there's no need for either of you to be embarrassed. It was dear of Philip to let me wear this for the evening. But quite right of you, Mr. Kendall, to insist on its return. Here.
I shan't forget this, Nick.
Philip, please. You're quite determined on this.
Quite.
Does she know about it?
Nothing whatever. The idea is mine and mine alone.
But isn't it possible you could satisfy your love or your conscience or whatever it is with something less than the entire estate?
But suppose this were what Ambrose himself intended until he became too ill to arrange it.
We don't know that. Not for a fact.
No, but I knew Ambrose, and so did you. Would he have done anything less for the woman he loved?
No, not if he still loved her.
If you let me sign.
I'm sorry, Philip, but I can't help regarding this as the completest folly. I wish now she'd never come to England. However, if there's nothing I can say to dissuade you, sign here and I'll witness it. There are some women, good women very possibly, who through no fault of their own impel disaster. Whatever they touch somehow turns to tragedy.